Hey, what's up, guys? I'm sure most of you are probably here from X, so you probably know me as Stark Capital. I hate to break it to you guys, I'm not Tony Stark, I'm not Iron Man, so I'm sorry if I fooled anyone. As much as I'd like to be, I'm not. I'm just a big nerd. I love Marvel, and I love Iron Man. So no, Tony Stark didn't pick up dividend investing. You're not actually following Iron Man on Twitter. This will be the first of hopefully regular videos that I make just on pretty much anything to do with the market, primarily dividends and selling options. So today I just wanted to go over really quick, like maybe a 5 or 6 minute video, give or take, what I think is most important for starting out with YieldMax ETFs, or for really anyone involved in them already. These points have really helped me the most for pretty much anything to do with YieldMax ETFs specifically. So first would be entry point. Now, I think it's kind of obvious you want to buy things cheaper and sell them higher. This is more difficult to do with products that distribute themselves out every month. You know, the NAV drops with the dividends. So you do get NAV appreciation from some of the ETFs depending on when you buy them. And that's why I think entry point matters a lot more than people give it credit for. Obviously, you would want to buy, let's say, Misty for $18 like it saw a month or so ago versus $30 or $40 like it was at its all-time highest. Now, that's for obvious reasons, but I think there's a couple points that people aren't going to really think of right off the bat. Now, the first reasons would be obviously you get more for your money, or you save on margin. You can either buy more with your money if you get it cheaper, or you could have money that you were going to put in that ETF go to something else. The other point would be that, and some people probably would disagree with me just because they're biased against YieldMax and dividends in general, but NAV health and NAV appreciation. Yes, it's a real thing. I know a lot of people are probably surprised by that, but yes, you can get NAV appreciation from YieldMax. I bought NVIDIA last year for $22. I had 1,300 shares at one point, and I sold them for like 23 or 24. So I made a couple $1,000s off of just the shares, and I got dividends for like 6 months. So entry point, it matters so much with YieldMax, and that's going to tie into the underlying, obviously. So if you like Tesla and you want to own Tesla, let Tesla come down and get cheaper, and then Tesla is going to follow it down. You can get in at a cheaper price, you can ride Tesla up and get paid at the same time. Don't just jump into any ETF because you see a nice pretty yield. You know, if Tesla yielded $1 in the previous month and you're like, oh man, I want that $1 distribution. Yes, obviously everyone does, but wait for the right entry point. Now, if you want to buy at a certain price and just forget about it and let the investment, you know, become 100% ROI and return all of its value to you, that's fine. I think entry point for me is what helped me the most. And so that leads me into the NAV erosion. I know this is a really taboo topic. A lot of people hate YieldMax ETFs for it, and even Roundhill does struggle a little bit with NAV erosion. But I'm going to make an argument here that it's completely misunderstood. There's NAV erosion, and then there's capital erosion. Capital erosion is what I think most people are referring to when they're looking at NAV erosion. Capital erosion is just a negative total return. You bought right here and your dividends have not made up for the NAV dropping yet. You have a negative total return. NAV erosion would be you bought here, but your dividends have you here. That's a positive total return. That's NAV erosion, but you have a positive total return. It's completely different from capital erosion. Two very different things, because the NAV is eroding to give you your capital back, or the distributions, their profits back, depending on how the month goes for them. So NAV erosion, capital erosion, two very different things. I could maybe break that down in like specific numbers if anyone would want me to. By the way, this is just for entertainment purposes. This is not financial advice. This is just me covering what's helped me and what I think should be important to other people that are considering or are already in YieldMax ETFs. And then the last couple points I'd like to go over really quick for this first video would be adjusted cost and adjusted yield. Now, I'm sure most people have heard of adjusted cost. I'm not going to cover that in depth. It's really just like your investment minus what you've made in dividends or capital gains from that. It could be either positive or negative. You could have a positive or a negative adjusted cost. So you would just take your investment, whatever it cost you, minus the dividends you've received or any trading you did with the ETF, and you would add or subtract from your cost, and that's going to give you your adjusted cost. That's going to lead me into your own yield for an ETF. And what do I mean by that? I don't see a lot of people cover this. I don't actually see anyone cover this, and I really want to make it more aware for people, I don't know what the word I'm looking for there is. Like, if let's say you own Misty for $30 and Nvidia pays $2, that's going to be a certain percentage yield for you. Now, when YieldMax, this is something they do that I really dislike. When they send out their distribution letters once a month, with them, they put the percentage yield that each distribution is, but that distribution is based on what the current share price is. And I would argue most people don't have those shares at that cost, or I would hope they have them cheaper, but they probably don't. So let's say, one ETF pays $1, and let's say it's a 50% yield for the person who owns it for a certain price. If someone else owns that same ETF way higher, that yield is going to be way less for them. So you need to know what your yield is. You need to do the math on what your investment costs and take your distribution and find out what that percentage yield is for you. And that's really, it's not a really big deal, but I like to know that because I like to project what something is going to consistently pay me and what I'm actually being paid, not what YieldMax tells me it is, because it's not accurate. So I have all of that kind of information in my spreadsheets, my adjusted cost. I'm religious with tracking that. My actual yield, I'm religious with tracking that. And I'm very, very particular about my entry points. I know a few people saw me sell all my Nvidia this last week, and that's not an entry point thing, but it's a profit taking thing. So I would like to get back into Nvidia cheaper because I think Nvidia itself is riding a little high right now. So entry point, try and get these ETFs cheap. Watch the underlying. If the underlying is just moonshotting right now, you might not want to buy the YieldMax ETF. Maybe you do. That's going to be completely up to you guys. Like I said, not financial advice. If that's going to help you with your NAV health, you might get NAV appreciation if you buy it cheap. It's more capital efficient. You could use more margin cheaper. Well, the margin's not going to be cheaper, but you could use less margin. And then NAV erosion versus capital erosion, two different things. And then you could track your adjusted cost and your actual yield to see how your fund, what it costs you, is performing. So those are the beginner things that I wanted to cover real quick. Like I said, I'd like to make these videos regularly on different topics. I'm just using my phone right now, nothing fancy, no backdrops, anything like that. So if anyone has something specific you'd like me to cover with YieldMax or Roundhill or anything with selling options, I could do some wheeling videos as well. Feel free to just leave a comment. You could message me on X, comment on one of my posts on X, whatever. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll get y'all next time.